welcome everybody to part 4, I believe. Yes, part 4 of this color along. I am just on a roll. It is Saturday, April 29th right now. Yes, Saturday, April 29th, and I am already recording part 4. I was going to wait because I already have part 3 recorded. I don't have to upload it till next Friday. But Grandma took the baby today, so I figured let's get this done. I won't have any distractions. I won't have to pause all the time to go tend to him. And better yet, my art room is upstairs, and my husband's office where the laptop is downstairs. So every 20 to 25 minutes, I have to walk downstairs and go upload the video to it, which is really good. That's like my exercise for the day, but it's also really annoying to have to climb over the baby gate we have at the top of the stairs or undo it every time. So now I can just keep the baby gate open, I can just walk downstairs, get my exercise for the day. It should be great. So in this part, this may actually very well be the last part, depending on how long it takes us to color the skin. I'm going to make a, what's the word I'm looking for? An educated guess that we are going to have to do a part 5 just to add shines and sparkles and all that fun stuff. Because from my experience, this skin is going to take a long time. But I will try to work through it as fast as I can while still being informative and hopefully helpful to you guys. If you watched my previous skin tutorial, this is going to be fairly different. This is a skin combination that I got from one of the members in the Hannah Lynn group. I added the light umber myself to make my shadows a little bit darker, and I absolutely love it. If you want... just grab my book here. Oh, wrong one. But while I have this out anyways, look what came in the mail yesterday. Super happy. This book is absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to color in it, but I'm one of those people that I want to color all my favorite images, but I won't because I want to save them, so I'll probably never color them. Yeah, anyways, that book is just absolutely gorgeous. And I guess this is the book I'm looking for. So the skin tone we're going to try to achieve is like this. It's very smooth. I never used my blender pencil. There's barely any white. So this is what we're going to try to do. So this is going to be a lot more complicated, even though there's less pencils than the last skin tutorial. We're also not going to use a blending pencil. Absolutely not. We are going to put down as many layers with the pencils as we can in order to not have to use a blending pencil. The more layers you get, the smoother it's going to look, and that is how you get that smooth skin look, which I am absolutely addicted to. She also doesn't have a nose. Sometimes I'll add noses to them. I've only ever done it twice now. Sometimes I won't. I'm not sure. So her hair's kind of in the way. It might look funny. We'll play around with it. We'll see. But with all that being said, our colors for this this part. For the skin, we're going to be using Light Peach, PC 927, Beige, PC 997, Peach, PC 939, Clay Rose, PC 1017, Light Umber, PC 941. For her cheeks, we're going to add a little bit of color to them using Process Red, PC 994, and Hot Pink, PC 993. For her eyes, we're going to be using Peacock Blue, 1027, Indigo Blue, 901, Non-Photo Blue, 919, and Powder Blue, 1087. Let me just say that I usually try to list these colors either from lightest to darkest or darkest to lightest. In the case of the skin, I ordered it from lightest to darkest. This, I was trying to do darkest to lightest, but I actually messed up. Indigo is supposed to be before Peacock Blue. Not that that really matters, but if you're trying to keep your pencils ordered, like I do, then you'd want to go powder blue, non-photo blue, peacock blue, and then indigo blue, lightest to darkest. For her lips, we're going to be using Processed Red, 994, Hot Pink, 993, and Light Peach, 927. And I think that'll end up looking really good. I've used that combination before, so it's in my combinations book. So her lips will be looking very similar to her shirt, but I already did some playing around with tracing paper to figure out the color of her eyes. And I was actually thinking about maybe giving her kind of darker red lips to kind of go with the sunset, but I ended up not really liking that. Excuse me. I also didn't like the green eyes, so yes, we're going to keep it with the blue, and then the really pretty pink lips. I think this is going to be it for our green. We've got these 3 features. The water's just a slightly greenish blue. I think it all works together. I don't want to overpower it. I think I want blue to be the main focus in this one. It's kind of a toss-up between blue and pink. Excuse me. I also apologize for... Oh, I don't know if you could hear that, but that guy needs to get his car checked out. I apologize for the lines from my cage. The sun is just not cooperating today, and I don't have blinds in my art room because the blinds in my son's room broke. So I let my husband take the blinds from my art room to use in his room. So we're just going to have to wait until the sun moves out of the way. I tried moving everywhere on my desk, and no matter where I go, I cannot escape it. I wonder if I could tape something on my window. I'm going to try that. I'll be right back. Okay, so much better. A couple more things. If you watched my unboxing video of this beautiful pencil case. I'm not going to open it right now. Maybe I will. Gotta show it off. I'm so excited about it, guys. It's just beautiful, and I just love it. So I actually have a review and unboxing on my channel up already. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. It opens like this on both sides. It holds 154, although it's only advertised as holding 150 pencils. So that is just awesome. Also, it didn't have this little tag thing before. It was just the zipper. The zipper was really hard to get at, so I took this off of one of my flashlights. But anyways, if you watch that video, you'll know that I said that the Amazon packing paper is amazing and that I always keep it. Wow, I have so many uses for this paper, it's ridiculous. So anyways, that's what I used to block out the light. So now we still got good lighting in here, but we don't have those annoying lines on the paper. So with that all being said, let me take a sip of water here and we'll get started. Oh, morning is the best time to drink water, but it tastes awful. Okay. So let's just dive right in here. So, again guys, I'm using 2 cameras, so you're going to have to bear with me while I adjust them both to try and constantly keep what we're doing in frame here. So let's start with her face, and the first pencil we're going to be using is our lightest, which is the Light Peach. And another, as always, I apologize for my squeaky chair. I know it probably sounds super annoying in the videos. So just very light, very, very light pressure, doing little circles. I'm just going to put the Light Peach all over her skin, just everywhere. Now I'm only going to go just where this imaginary line is, where her eyelashes meet the bottom of her eye here. I'm not going to go inside that, I want to leave that white. A little little circles or light big circles. Doesn't really matter right now. We are just layering to add layers. I gotta remember to keep this in frame. Once we get to the more, I don't really want to say complicated because it's not too complicated. I mean, it can be tricky, but once we get further along in the video to where we really start doing our shading and shadowing and whatnot, I will try and zoom in. I don't know if we're going to bounce all over the place or if we're just going to stick to one part of her body, like let's say do her face all at once and then skip to her neck and chest and arms. So we're just going to kind of have to wing it and see how it goes. Alright, next we are going to switch to beige. And we're just going to do the exact same thing. And if you have watched my my previous skin tutorial, you will find this very familiar. It's very repetitive in the beginning. We're just going to do this exact same thing with every single pencil, I think. I can't remember if I did it with my darkest ones or not. It's been a long time since I colored one of Hannah's girls' skin in. Honestly, I can't even remember the last one I colored. I mean, I know I started on Reindeer Girl from Hannah's Christmas book, but I'm kind of at a roadblock with that one. I just have no motivation to finish it. It's still just sitting there. I haven't done the skin on her either yet because I want it to be a darker kind of fawn colored skin, dark fawn. I mean, she's a reindeer, so. I don't know why. That's like the one Hannah image that I've ever had troubles finishing. I think I just started it because it was a color along though, not because I actually wanted to. Alright, now we are switching to peach. And we're doing the exact same thing. Using the same amount of pressure as we started off with, just super light. You could pretty much just let the pencil rub on the paper with its own weight, and that is probably the pressure that I'm using. Also, if you wanted to add makeup to her, I chose not to. I was thinking about it. I'd have probably done, I don't know, maybe blue makeup or just like natural brown colored makeup. But I chose not to because I want to keep her face fairly simple aside from, you know, adding some color to her cheeks. But if you wanted to add makeup to her, I would say that after we go through and layer all our colors in here, I would start kind of lightly layering in makeup, and I would make it, you know, kind of darker towards the crease here and then lighten it up. Some people go all the way up to their eyebrows. I don't know why. I'm not saying that that is wrong. To me, though, oh, it drives me crazy. Are we supposed to put eyeshadow all the way up to our eyebrows? Am I missing something there? I mean, I rarely do my makeup, but I guess maybe with like a super light eyeshadow, I probably have, but I don't know, it just looks funny to me. Now we're doing the exact same thing, I still can't remember if I went over their faces with the light umber or not. 10 to 1 I did. It will be nice to have this video to look back to for reference in the future to see how I did this. And again, guys, the more you practice, the better you get. So I look at my coloring now compared to when I first started out, and wow, have I ever improved. And the more I practice, the more I'll keep improving, and that's the great thing about it. You can't just get good at something overnight. It doesn't usually work that way. I probably could speed up this part, but I think I'm going to leave it as is. I want to see the full time of it, because at the very end, whether it's this one or not, I will show how long it took to completely color her in. I feel like a lot of people have a unrealistic idea of how long things take because videos are always sped up on the internet. And don't get me wrong, I love watching sped up coloring videos. I'm a fan. Something like this though, when you're trying to kind of demonstrate how you do something and show in depth, you can't really speed up certain parts. But I know just the hair alone took me 2 hours. And I think coloring her shirt and stuff was another hour, so that's 3 hours. The background was a little bit over an hour, so that's 4 hours. And this will probably be an hour and a half, I'm hoping. It might even be closer to 2 hours. I hope not, because those videos take forever to load. But that's okay. It's okay if it does take that long. Heck, we might even have to do the skin in 2 parts. All depends on how long it takes to color it. Okay, so that is all of our colors down, and as you can see, it looks kind of grainy on the camera, and of course it is. The color doesn't quite show. It's a little bit darker than that, but we used very light pressure, so it's good. It's good. It's good. Now what do we do now? Honestly, guys, it's been so long since I've colored skin. It's crazy. We're at 18 minutes. Let's just go back over with a light layer of peach. We're just kind of going to wing this. Just using that same amount of pressure, just super light. We're going to do tons and tons of light layers. I think normally what I would do now is I would probably start working on figuring out where the shadows are. We're just going to do a quick light layer of peach, just kind of half-ass blend everything together. Oops, can you swear on YouTube? Oh, I guess you guys should be able to see. Sorry. I have to keep remembering to move this. Just super lightly. Circles going over everything. Okay, so now that we got that, let's figure out our shadows. So let's switch to the light umber, And so everything along here is probably going to be in shadow. So just using a light pressure, very light, just kind of lining along her hair here. It will be a little bit darker than our previous layers, even though I'm using the same pressure, because I'm going over it quite a few times. So I want it darkest at the very edge of her hair, and then I want to fade it out. Just gently fade it out. Okay, I always shadow underneath their eyebrows because I feel like the eyebrow should kind of, it doesn't really stick out, but it kind of does. Your eyelid goes in just slightly. It makes it look more prominent anyways. It's the exact same thing, darker right underneath and then fade it out. I'm also going to darken right under the crease of her eye and right over the crease of her eye, just slightly up here. It's going to be darker underneath the crease. And then fade it out. I feel like it'll probably also be shadowed underneath her hair here. So it's the same thing. Let's see, we're 21 minutes. We should save this right away. Fading it out. Darker towards the edge. Fade it out. Okay, now we'll just quickly, I am going to go along her whole, the outside of her face. Just kind of darken it up. Not as dark as these shadows, but I want her face to look round, not flat. So just do that, lightly fade it out. Underneath her nose, it's going to be a little bit darker, fade it down. Underneath her lip is going to be a little bit darker, and fade it out. I still haven't decided if we're going to add a nose to her yet. Like, she has a nose, but add like the bridge of her nose. We'll see. I'm going to go save this to my computer and then we'll keep working on our shadowing. Okay, and we're back. Squeaky chair. Okay. So I think to help us figure out if we want to add a nose, or more of a nose to her, I should say, what I'm going to do, now you don't have to do this. I'm going to show which color I'm using anyways though, in case you decide to do it. I'm going to use the peach. And usually for their noses, hold on, let me grab one of my books here to use as a reference. Find the picture I did here. Okay, that's not a very good reference because she has a funny nose. Let me grab my Christmas book. There we go. Has a normal nose. There we go. My face is kind of tilted. I'm tripping out here on things. Okay. So usually I'll start from just above where Hannah has drawn in the nose. And it just depends on how slender you want the nose to be. And I usually try to line the nose up with either her eyelashes or more likely her eyebrows. But I feel like her nose is a little bit farther down than usual. So I'm just going to draw a light line coming up here. I don't know if I like that. I mean, you can barely see it on the camera. Okay. I don't think I'm going to add a nose to her. I think I'm going to keep it like as it is. If you guys would like, let me know in the comments or in the group. If you're watching this from the Hannah group, let me know if you would like a tutorial on how I add noses to them, and I will find one that I specifically want to add a nose to. So since we're not doing a nose on her, let's go back in with our light umber. I think we're going to work on everything all at once, just doing the same thing. That way we get the same amount of layers on everything and have everything equal, looking good. So right under her chin here, slightly add some layers of light umber. In this little spot here, it's going to be fairly dark. So the medium pressure, I'm going to go in there. It's not completely burnished yet because I don't want her skin to look that dark. But if I go back over that with the light peach, it'll lighten it up a little bit, but still look shadowed. So just keep adding some shadow in along here. Fade it down. I'm also going to add just a slight shadow where her neck kind of curves, because we want it to look not like a flat piece of paper. We want it to have a little bit of dimension to it. I guess since we put shadow behind her hair on her face, we should probably put some shadow here too. Just fade it out. And then same here, we'll put some shadow around this hair. Under her necklace would also have a bit of a shadow. So you're just darkening up those lines at the edges and then fading them out until they match. They slowly fade into the color that we already have down. There'll be a shadow, just a small shadow behind this strand of hair. Okay, I'm going to keep her shoulder light, I think. Yeah. One thing you'll notice, I did add a line here to kind of give her some cleavage. So I'm just going to go over that line. I made it with pencil, but once we go over with enough pencil, we're not going to really be able to see it anyways. So I'm just going to go on that line with a light pressure, and let's see, this part of her chest on this side will be lighter, over here will be shadowed, so we're going to fade it out this way. Okay. Let's move on to her arm. Shadow under the frills of her shirt. Fade it out. I'm also going to shadow where her chest pops out here, I think, as well as down her arm to make it look rounded. And then same here, we'll shadow here, here, and here. And then just fade it out. That's kind of why I was fighting with myself on shadowing her shoulder or not. I mean, she kind of does have hair that looks like it's resting on her shoulder, but I think it's more behind. So I think that's the one spot I want the light to kind of really make bright. You know, usually I don't do that. Usually I shadow all around the edges, but you know, I'm always down for trying something different. Okay, and then same here, we'll shadow all along underneath this strand of hair and where her arm ends or curves. Alright, now I think what we're going to do is we're going to stick with our light umber, and we are just going to darken up our shadows a little bit more. So I think they're looking good. I'm pretty confident in them. I know that line on her nose looks funny, but I think The reason I did it with peaches, I'm pretty sure after we add all the layers that we're going to, you'll barely be able to notice that line anyways. So I'm just going to go in and darken up every single shadow. I'm going to make sure that the light umber fades out into the color that we already have. Or I should say into the main color of her face. I want her to have super pouty lips, so I want a fairly dark shadow in underneath her lips here. I don't want the shadow on her cheek and her chin to be too dark, just enough to suggest that her face doesn't just end, goes to where we can't see it. It just rounds behind itself almost. Also because I want the shadow underneath her chin to be fairly dark. Keep going around, darkening up the shadows. It's pretty repetitive, but it's good that it's repetitive because the more you do it, the better you get at it. Now, if you're just learning to do skin or practicing, I would suggest either making copies, or what I usually do if I want to try something new is I will just pick one of the girls that I'm not very fond of, or just a picture in general that I'm not very fond of. So if I mess up, it sucks, but it's not the end of the world. It wasn't like my favorite picture. With her, that is not the case. I'm still going to try new things skin-wise, as in leaving a light here, but I mean, that's not going to make or break the picture, so I definitely wouldn't try anything drastically new on this picture, because I really like her. This is one that I would normally save because I really like her, but I mean, I like you guys, so why not color a pretty picture? Okay. So I'm just going to try to zoom in here just on one camera because I don't think I can. I can zoom in a little bit on this camera. For the most part, we've been lucky. We haven't lost too many clips. I think we did that one time because my phone wanted me to update. But since then, I've updated it, and I have it on airplane mode, so we shouldn't have any disruptions. Okay, now we're going to come in with our clay rose, and what we're going to do with this is we're going to lightly go over where we have our shadows. So we're going to go over that light umber, but we're also going to bring it out a little bit past the light umber. So where we start fading out with the light umber is where our clay rose is going to be. And then from there, we're going to fade it out into the rest of the skin. Now hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to try to explain this process the best I can. For the most part, we're always going to be going over our shadows. Even when we blend with our lightest color, we're going to be going over our shadows. Because we want everything to... what's the word I'm looking for? We want everything to be smooth and, you know, we want it to look uniform, so we want it to be all the same for the most part. We don't want this part up here looking different than down here and throwing the whole look off. So for the most part, we're going to do the same thing to every area. Every shadow is going to have this going over it. And just keep layering until you're happy with it. I want to fade it out just a little bit more in some areas. Don't be afraid to use lots of layers. Go over it lots of times because that's going to help when you're ready to oh man, I've been doing so good up until now. It will help you when you are ready to add your final layer and smooth everything together, is what I'm trying to say. So again, just the same for everything. Since we used medium pressure here, I'm just going to very lightly go over this with the clay rose. Very, very lightly. That will probably be the first place that's totally done because it's so tiny. So yeah, just doing the same thing. We're going over all our shadows and then fading them out a little bit further. This will help us transition smoother from the darkest areas to the lightest areas. Now, where these frills pop up, it's not going to be too shadowed, but I'm still going to add a little bit of the clay rose here and kind of shade them a little bit. So they're not going to be the brightest, but they're not really going to be the darkest either. Make sure we're still in the frame here. We're still using the clay rose. We haven't switched yet. Just going over our shadows and fading them out. You know what? It's too much of a hassle using two phones. I can't get them both in frame. Hopefully we don't lose clips because on the other phone it's not as zoomed in. It's nice for backup because it's better than nothing, but I really want to get in here and show you guys what I'm doing. Oh, there's a train. Okay, so I'm happy with how this is looking. So let's come up to her face again here. Just 1 second, I need some water. There's another good tip I can give you. It's not to keep drinks near your desk, but I have my capped bottle of water here, so if I spill it, it's good. And then over here, I have my mocha just kind of sitting there, so I haven't drank much of it, but it's quite a ways away from my desk, so if I spill it, it's not going to wreck anything except the floor. I've heard of so many people spilling their drinks on their desks and ruining their work, and oh, I'm so scared of that happening. I would be so mad at myself. So yeah, I have a rule that there is no open drinks on my desk ever. Even if I'm not working on something, it is not on my desk. Okay, so now we're gonna go in with the peach, and we're still using those really light, or that really light pressure. I'm just gonna go over everything and just fade it out even further than we did with the clay rose. As you can see, there's kind of a pattern here. We're constantly fading out just a little bit further with each lighter color. And that's how you're going to get that smooth transition in colors. It's not going to look like it just went straight from dark brown to peach. It's going to slowly fade and fade and fade, and eventually it's just going to be light in some spots. And you would be surprised how much dimension that actually gives to a picture. Because you can see now we're just a few layers in, but you can already tell that there's dimension. She doesn't look so flat. The light peach, for the most part, we won't really see. It'll be more for blending everything together. So the lightest is usually the beige. You might be wondering when we're going to get to adding color to her cheeks. I usually do that after I'm done adding all my shadow blending layers in. So we're at peach now, so we'll go through beige, possibly light peach, but maybe not. I'm not sure yet. And then we'll start adding color to her cheeks. Now, remember, you can barely see it, but we went over here with the clay rose to add just a slight shadow above the frills, so we're also going to fade off from that and go over it as well. Just fade it out nicely. We're also going to start blending into the left part of her chest here. And then again, just the same thing, softly going over everything. And for the most part, these are such small areas that you're pretty much just going to be coloring them in. They're going to be fairly dark. Oh, sorry, you guys couldn't see that. I remember to move the camera down once I'm done the top of her arm. Okay. So back up to her face. We're already at 18 minutes again. We're going to switch to beige. And we're going to do the exact same thing. Very lightly, we're going over everything, fading it out even more. For the most part, this means pretty much covering everything in because there's some very small areas here though, right here. This is probably going to be the only spot, aside from her shoulder, that we're going to see quite a bit of the light peach. Here is going to be the lightest spot on her face. Just going to lightly go over everything. I'm going to go under her eye here with the beige too. Just this very small area here. Just left alone for the most part. And then from there, we pretty much just go over everything. We never did go over this with the peach, but that's okay. And in some of the smaller spots, we have so many layers now that it's starting not to look so grainy. Like, for example, we're really zoomed in here, but if we look at her face, my camera could focus. It's fairly grainy. If you look at her neck, it's not that bad when you compare the two. So here's the only other place where we'll really be able to see the light peach. So we're going all around here, so you have shadows in around everywhere. I'm going to come up quite a ways. I'm going to come up to about here. So this little area here is going to be the other lightest part of her body. And again, we're just going to lightly go over everything. I'm going to remember to bring the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, we're in at 21 minutes. We're going to have to save this again. We're actually making good progress. We're working a lot faster than I thought this would be going. Let's go in with the light peach, but we're not going to go over everything. We're just going to go over the areas that are going to have light peach showing the most, like by itself. We'll have light peach everywhere, but it'll show mostly by itself in these two spots here. Okay, and then let's quickly just go in and we're going to darken our shadows up more, even more. So I'm using a slightly harder pressure than before. Not too much, just slightly. I'm putting a little tiny bit of pressure on the pencil just to get a little bit of that darker color out. And I know, guys, I'm working really fast. All we're doing is we're going in and we're darkening up our shadows and we're still fading them out. I want to do this before I start adding color to her cheek and stuff. Okay, again, pressing pretty firmly under her neck because that's going to be our darkest shadow. So I'd actually say I'm using a medium pressure right now. Still not enough to burnish the paper. Fade it out. Let's add some more shadows. There's some more darkness to the rest of the shadows. Definitely not as dark as under her neck, but just enough to make them pop out again. This area is still pretty dark, so I don't have to add too much. Okay, as you can see, she's definitely starting to take shape. She's looking pretty good. I'm going to go save this and we'll continue. So I don't think we're doing too bad. That's 2 times I've had to upload to the computer now, so let's say it's close to 25 minutes each time, so we're about 10 minutes short of an hour. So I would have to say that we are probably, definitely, not probably, we are definitely going to be doing the smaller I'm not going to say last minute details because they're not last minute, but the very last details on the page. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. It's going to be in a different video. So this is actually going to be a 5-part series, which is crazy. It really shows you how long it takes to color these pictures. And this isn't even from a big book. This is, I have the pocket-sized version of Enchanted Faces. Don't mind my squeaky chair. I think we're actually done with that. Oh, one more thing. Guys, we're gonna add a nose. I'm just gonna suck it up. This little line here is kind of growing on me. I kind of like it there. So what we're going to do is we are going to just very lightly, I'm going to bring that line up, and I'm going to end it right about there. So it's kind of gonna curve into the crease of her eye. It probably should go up to her eye. Well, let me see, where does ours end? No, I guess ours ends right by her eye. What am I thinking? Well, no, it kind of does come up to her eyebrows. Okay, and just on this side, we're going to curve it in a little bit, bring it out. It's just slightly with the light umber. So that we're doing this, we're going to have to do just a little bit more shading on her face. So now we're going to switch to the clay rose, and just on the outside here, I'm going to go over the light umber, and I'm just going to bring it towards the outside of the bridge of her nose and fade it out. And although we can't really see it over here, I'm going to do the same thing anyways. And it looks kind of funny. Why does it look funny? I think it'll grow on me. It'll grow. Okay. Okay, now let's switch to our peach. And we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to go over the line. We're going to go over where the clay rose is, and we're just going to fade it out. And we're going to come down here under her nose too. We're going to do the same thing on the side. Bring it up a little bit. And again, the exact same thing with the beige. Going over everything. But we are also going to shade it in this way, but we're going to try to kind of leave a center strip here. And I know we've already done a lot of the shading in this area, but... And then we're going to switch to light peach and just kind of go over everything. On the inside of the nose, not really the outside, just the inside. So I don't mind it. I think I like it. I like it. I do. I like it. It looks funny, but I like it. I think once the skin's done, it just looks funny for now. Once it's done, it'll be good. Okay, now I don't really want to darken up these lines too much more, but we're going to go in and we're going to do one more set of layering here, just on the outside. Just to kind of make that nose stand out. So again, just still lightly, just going in. Giving it really good coverage. Go under her nose with the peach too, because you can't really see it in there. Just very lightly on the side, that's really close to not being able to take much more. And then on the outside with the peach and a little bit on the inside too. I'm not going to worry about the light peach. Okay, so I do like that. The last thing we did was we went over with our dark brown. Last thing we did before adding the nose, I should say. So let's go over all our shadows again with the clay. Pressing just slightly harder than we were last time. Say not quite medium pressure, but close. So that's another thing that's hard to explain about shading and stuff. You never know exactly how hard someone's pressing. So what I say to that is to just go light. Do as many layers as you need to. Remember, it's not a race. Let's bring these cameras down here. Oh, those dogs. Can you hear them? Every time that there is a siren or a car alarm or somebody walking down the street or they bark and howl. I swear to God, the dogs around this area howl probably 5 times a day. And when our dog, my husband has a big pit bull, when he gets started howling, because he'll join in on them every once in a while. He's usually pretty good. He's not much of a barker. He was taught it's not okay to bark unless there's somebody in the yard or, you know, times that he actually needs to, not just because he's a dog. Yeah, he's got this big, deep howl. Sometimes he howls in his sleep, and it starts off, like, the only way I can describe it is like a boat horn, those huge, loud foghorns. It starts off really low and gradually, like, gets louder and louder. I swear to God, if I die in my sleep, it's gonna be because I had a heart attack from that dog. So again, we're just kind of going in here with our layers. Just kind of making sure everything goes together nicely. See, right here with this dark umber, there's this one line that comes right down and it doesn't really fade out. I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of a firm pressure here. Just kind of blend that out a little bit. See, now you can't really notice that line anymore. Like, it's still there. The camera picks it up, of course. The camera picks that up. I'm just going to quickly switch back to my light umber. Just kind of getting closer to the edge of her arm here. There we go. There, fixed. Okay. I like where this is going. We still have quite a few more layers. This video is probably going to be close to an hour and a half, I would say. Let's start layering in, I guess, her cheek. She's going to get one in this picture. So we're going to be using processed red. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to very lightly start by the bottom of her eye here. I'm going to bring it down. There's really no rule of thumb for how far to bring the blush down. I usually bring it down, say, just a little less than halfway down the length towards her chin. So I'd probably stop it right about here, and then I'll fade it out. I'm going to go in and I'm going to do another layer, just very lightly. And fade it out. And then we're going to switch to the hot pink, and we're going to go over the processed red. And we're going to come down even further. So we're not going to go down much more, it's just a touch, but we're more coming in towards her face here. Really, you could just pull it out until you're happy with it. I think I'm going to go to about here, so not quite to the corner of her eye. Okay, I like that. And so for now, we're just going to leave that, and we're going to keep going in with our skin. So now we got the base of where her blush is going to be. So from here on out, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to completely finish her face, and then we'll work on her neck, and we'll just work our way down. Because this whole bouncing up and down is probably wasting a lot more time than I can afford. And I got lots of time, but those long videos take pretty much all night to upload to YouTube, and even longer to save in movie format on Movie Maker. So yeah. Start doing our final layers. We're going to go in with our light umber, just around where we had it before, our shadows I mean. And we're just going to, not really going to say darken them up because they're going to stay about the same, but we're just going to add a little bit more to them, you know, more layers. We're not trying to really add to the shadows, we're trying to add to the layers. I'm going to lightly, just going to go over the lines I did for her nose. Make sure to get that nice fade. Okay. Now let's switch to the clay rose, and I'm going to press fairly firm. Not so much in the cheek area. I'm going to use a little bit of pressure, but not a whole lot, because I still want to go over and do one more layer on her cheeks. So I'm going to say I'm using a firm pressure all the way down here, just to kind of half burnish the light umber, or anywhere where the darkest light umber is. But her cheeks, I'm just going to use a light pressure to kind of just add a little bit more of a skin tone underneath. Now I don't want the shadows on her nose to stand out too much more, so I'm just going to lightly, very lightly, just go over those shadows. Go up here, again pressing fairly firmly, but not enough to completely burnish the paper. And work your way down. This side too. And under here. Okay, now let's, oops, sorry guys. Make sure we're good on both cameras. Okay, I have a squeaky chair. Alright, now let's switch to our peach, and we're just going to do the exact same thing. We're going to go over the darker areas, firm pressure, bringing it in. We are starting to burnish our darkest area. burnishing our darkest area, fading it out. Again, not too much of a firm pressure around the nose. For the most part, these lines here almost pretty much look burnished, but we will burnish them completely with the light peach, I believe. I think. We'll see. We will see. I'm still going to burnish in here though, so technically this side of her nose will pretty much be completely burnished. I'm going to burnish underneath her nose and fade it out. I'm going to burnish underneath her lip and fade it out. Just the very immediate shadows on the very edges, and again, not so hard near the cheeks. Just enough to really add that color in there. We might not even have to go over. I think that's going to be it for the cheeks. I think I'm going to go for a more kind of natural, since she's not wearing makeup, I want kind of more like a natural glow to her cheeks. So for the most part, we're just going to burnish her cheeks with pencils. So I am going to go in and burnish the darkest area of her cheek as well. Come down here and add a little more layer to kind of burnish it a little bit. So I think under her lip will be pretty much burnished with just the peach. I don't really want to get too many more lighter colors in there. See, her face is really taking shape now. So switch to the beige. Now we're not going to go over our darkest area. Well, maybe a little bit. Yeah, we'll go over it. Don't listen to me. We're going to make dang sure that it's burnished. Just bring it in. Light layer here. I guess that's mostly going to be burnished with light peach. I'm going to burnish this side of the line of her nose and this side of the line of her nose with the beige. I'm also going to do just a little bit more shading and bring some beige in at the top of her nose. And that's going to be burnished with light peach. She's already at 16 minutes again. This might be more than an hour and a half long. Okay, I'm just going to fade in there. And here I'm just going to totally burnish her eyelid here. And then come in here and completely burnish this whole area. Underneath her nose here by her lips, this side of her lips. And we're going to burnish by her eye here. Oh, we're dragging some of that black in there. There we go. We're going to fade it out. We're going to burnish underneath her eye. And almost the whole part of where the blush is on her cheek, about up to here, and then I'm going to fade it out because that's mostly going to be light peach. So now we go in with our light peach, and we're just going to go over everything. Fairly firm pressure. We're really getting in there. And of course, it's pretty much impossible to get every single white spot out, but we are going to try. And I'm just going over everywhere the light peach should be, and I'm also just going over everywhere where I can see too much white still showing through. Okay, I like that. This part here didn't blend quite like I wanted it, so I'm just going to see if I can lightly go back in with the beige. Just bring it out a little bit. Okay, Okay, and also let's use the light peach to completely burnish around her nose where we added those lines. I know it doesn't quite look so smooth on the camera because we're so zoomed in, but I promise you, when we zoom out, yeah, it looks a lot more smooth. So I think we have some time here to do her neck. In with our dark umber and just kind of darken up our shadows just a little bit. More just for the sake of adding a layer. We're going to go in with our clay rose and do the exact same thing we did on the face. In our darkest shadows, we're going to press fairly hard and then we're going to fade out. Okay, now we switch to the peach. Do the same thing, just pretty much go over everything. And I'm just going to fade it out a little bit in the center here. This is a very small area, we're only going to be able to fit the beige. But that's okay because this is kind of shadowed, so it doesn't need to be super light. Let's see. Maybe let's skip her chest area here. We've only got about 5 more minutes that I can record for before I have to go and upload this again. So let's work on this arm. Let's start with the light umber. Just gonna go around those areas again. Switch to the clay rose. Burnish our darkest shadows and fade out towards the lighter ones. Switch to peach and pretty much just go over everything. Fade it out if you have enough room to. I got a little tiny sliver of room. And our last layer here is beige. Just light circles, blend that in. Okay, let's see if we can do, I'm going to do this whole part of her arm in one here. So light umber, just go in for the sake of adding one more layer, just lightly, make sure it's faded out. You don't want too harsh of a shadow, otherwise it kind of looks funny. Okay, switch in with the clay rose, pressing fairly firmly. We're going to burnish our darkest shadows and fade it out. Pretty much just burnishing along the lines and then fading it out. Switch to peach. And I think this top part of her arm is just going to be burnished with the peach. Bottom part, just burnish everywhere, leaving this little small part that'll have the beige used to burnish. And we're going to go over the top here with the beige just slightly. She's got a very tan look. I'm liking that. It matches her. She's kind of like an island, kind of tropical mermaid looking girl. Oh, this camera is not like zooming out. Okay, here we are at 22 minutes. We've only got a little bit left here. It seems really silly to go and save just to record this tiny little bit, but I want to see how long this is going to be anyways, so we'll be right back. Okay, so we're actually not doing too bad on time. I've started uploading my videos that we have so far onto my movie maker, and it says that we're only at 1 hour and 9 minutes. But we also still have to do her eyes and her lips. So we are going to do a part 5 just to do the finishing details, you know, adding shines and glitter and all that fun stuff. But But I'm not going to be mean and make you guys wait a week for that. So I will upload that one right after I upload this one. So instead of having to wait 5 weeks for the full picture, you only have to wait 4, which is, that's pretty good. That's a month, pretty much, for the most part. Okay, so, oh, I put these away and we're not quite done. Okay, here. Okay, this is back with the light umber. Make sure you can see that, I guess. Yeah, we'll put it right up there. Okay. So just go in and kind of just darken up our shadows just a touch more. And then switch to our clay rose and just do the same thing as before. Just pretty much burnishing our darker shadows and blending out with the clay rose. Now we're also going to kind of darken up the shadows here where her frills are and fade it out. Okay, next is I mixed my colors all up. Was it peach or beige? It was peach. Okay. So next we'll come in with our peach here. And just gonna go over everything. Using a fairly firm pressure, we're trying to pretty much burnish everything. So just going to go over everything and then fade the peach out. I'm also going to burnish the right side of her chest here with peach. And we're going to switch to beige. And I'm only going to go over the areas where there's still quite a bit of white showing through. Other than that, just going to kind of bring it up here. And I'm going to fade it out here, but I'm also just going to put a light layer of the beige at the top here. Okay. And, oh. We're also going to use the beige, just kind of finish burnishing her chest here. Oh my gosh, that was the peach. Dang it. Well, I guess we could still kind of try to go in with our beige and darken that up a bit. Okay, that's why I should never leave my pencils sitting here. I should always have them in order, otherwise I pick up the wrong one. Alright, now using light peach again, just going to go in and try to blend all these harder spots together. That clay rose didn't want to blend too well in there. There we go. There's her skin finished. It looks funny on the camera, but it looks a lot smoother in person. This is pretty good for this paper. It does look smoother on the Halloween book and the Christmas book. I'm not sure about Sweet and Simple because I haven't colored in that one in a really long time. But the first 2 books, I swear to God, the paper is different. It's so much harder to blend on. Maybe it's just me, I don't know. So, next I think we'll do her lips. So, I'm just going to zoom. I don't know what. Oh, this camera sucks for zooming. Most of the times you use your fingers to kind of pinch outwards, but if I do that, oh, of course it would actually want to work now. Usually when I do that, it zooms out, which is funny. Okay. So now I can get rid of the majority of these pencils so I don't accidentally grab them. I'll put those up here. Let's see, we're gonna need these. Where's my light peach card? There it is. Okay. So we're kind of gonna go opposite here. Put that up there. Oh, we can't see it in this camera. Put it there. You know what? I'm not counting on this video messing up. So I'm just gonna say that we're using Process Red. It shows on one camera. We're good to go. So she's got kind of small lips. So make sure you have a good point on your pencil. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the darkest color. I'm going to go over the black line a little bit too. Not so far that I'm on her skin, but I like to kind of go on the black line and kind of give it a little bit of tinted color, just kind of like lip liner almost. So after doing that, what I'm going to do, and I'm pressing fairly hard, I want to just kind of go along the bottom line, following these lines of her lip, not the top one, just the sides and the bottom, just like that, and I'm going to then fade it out. I'm also very carefully going to try to get a little bit too much of the color here. I guess the top of her lips will be a little bit darker. So after that, we're going to switch to the hot pink. And I'm just going to go over the faded area of the Process Red. I'm going to try to keep the darkest area as much as I can. I'll probably go over it again anyways though. And then I'm just going to fade that out. And I don't think I'm going to put any hot pink at the top of her lips here. I'm going to go in with the light peach. And I'm just going to go over top of her lip. Blend that all in. And then just that little white spot on the bottom of her lip. So I think that looks pretty awesome. I am going to switch back over to the Process Red though and just darken up the very bottom of her lip. And just reline any areas that got the light peach on it so the outsides of her lips stay dark. That's pretty much it for her lips. So now I can get rid of these pencils and those tags. And we are on to her eyes. Okay. So for her eye, again I'm going to start with my darkest color. Let's see if I can. So as far in as I can zoom, guys, so let's bear with me. So there are so many different ways that you can color eyes, but I'm just going to show you my favorite way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to complete the circle of her iris, just like that, with my darkest color. Okay? And then I'm going to press fairly firm at the very top of her eye. Very firmly. Make a line of blue right underneath that black. And then I'm going to gently fade it down. Okay. Now I'm going to switch to the peacock blue, and I'm just going to, again, using a very firm pressure. I mean, it's firm enough that it's getting rid of most of the white, but I could still go over it again, at least one time. Maybe not more than once. But. So I'm just going to go over the faded area of the indigo blue. Kind of going to curve it down a little bit. So see, we've got kind of this going on, and it's kind of curving down here too. And then I'm going to fade that out. And I shouldn't have to go over that again. So I'm going to come back in with my indigo blue, and I'm just going to make sure that the top right underneath her eyelashes stays super dark. And then I'm going to switch to non-photo blue. Again, pressing fairly firmly, I'm going to go over the faded area of the peacock blue. Right underneath her iris, I'm going to fade it out. And then I'm going to go in with the powder blue, and I'm going to finish burnishing her eye. I'm kind of going to go over up until that indigo blue. I'm going to lighten up the rest of the colors up until that indigo blue. And that is what you are left with. That kind of gives you, that'll give you the shadow underneath the eye, but it'll also give you a little bit of kind of white in the eye as well. For her iris, you could leave it like that. Some people do. You'll see when in the final details video, I'll go over this with black paint or a black felt or a Sharpie, just whatever you have on hand. I'll probably use black paint. I'll explain why in the next video, and then I'll add my own little highlights to her eye. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I've just got this one little line here. I don't know if you can see it. I must have colored over top of this paper or something to make an indent, because it's, no matter how much I blend, it's not going bye-bye, but that's okay. So anyways, let's see if I can zoom out of this. There we go. So here's what we have so far. And I will see you in the next video right away if you'd like to watch it, because it should be up right after this one's uploaded. I can't say right after, it'll take a little bit of time, but it'll be pretty short, so I don't think it'll take too long to upload to YouTube. So anyways, I'll see you right after, and we'll talk about how to add some final details to your picture.